Hello and welcome to my channel, knottygnome Crafts. My name is Sarah and you can find me as knottygnome on Instagram. Today's video, we're going to talk about my 5 favorite indie pattern companies. Now, if you are a regular viewer of my channel, then you might know that I do sew a lot with Big 4. That's probably I'm going to lump them all together. That's probably the pattern company that I actually use the most. But I do like variety, and so I have tried a number of indie pattern companies, and there are a few that I keep going back to again and again. Now I will say that there are certain vloggers and Instagrammers out there that always seem to sew with the same pattern company and they make all of their designs. I'm not really one of those people because, as I said, I do like mixing it up and trying different things. But I thought I would share with you my 5 favorite pattern companies that I have made multiple designs from and multiple times. That generally speaking, their fit is pretty good for me. It's not something where I have to make tons and tons and tons of adjustments. And they're just things that I want to make over and over again. Now, the way that I'm going to present this information to you is that I'm not ranking the companies, but I'm going to list them in the order of the number of patterns that I've sewn from the company. And also, because this is more company focused and not individual pattern focused, I'm not going to list all of the details of each individual pattern, but I will link the patterns down in the description box. And also if I have a video with more details about each individual make, I'll put that in the description box as well. So let's just get started. Company number 1 that I'm going to talk about today is Jennifer Lauren Handmade. I have made 4 of her designs. And I also have a number of other of her patterns in my stash that I have not made yet. Now, what I like about Jennifer Lauren Handmade is, honestly, the biggest thing is that she does individual cup sizes and that her cup sizes start with A. I have a very small chest, and if you are a regular viewer of this channel, then you will know about my rant that I've gone on multiple times about how when companies offer pattern cup sizes, but they do an A-B cup, that really means that it's a B cup, and I'm an A cup, so I still have to do a small bust adjustment. But with Jennifer Lauren Handmade, she actually legitimately does A cups, so I really appreciate that, and it makes me want to support her company. Now, in regard to her design aesthetic, I would say that Jennifer Lauren Handmade, it leans a little bit more towards vintage, which is really not my vibe. However, I do feel like her designs are modern enough that you can wear them in an everyday wardrobe today and you don't look like you're wearing a costume or that you're out of place. And there are a number of her patterns that I just really like. I made the hunter tank out of a white linen, and I really like the cut of this tank. It's cut on the bias and it ties at the waist. I found that it was a really versatile piece and I wore it a lot last summer. Now, this is one of her older designs that actually does not have cup sizes, and so if I were to make this again, I probably would need to do a small bust adjustment, but it's the only one that doesn't have it, the individual cup sizes, and I do really like the design. I could see myself making more of these in the future, especially out of scraps because it takes up a very small amount of fabric. I've also made her Sorel Dress out of a Rifle Paper Company quilting cotton. I am super excited to be able to get this dress out again for the spring and summer because I just think that it's so lovely. It is a little bit of a vintagey nod, I would say, but I think that the silhouette looks really nice on me, and I love that it has pockets. I like the slight structured A-line shape of the dress, and I just think it's a really beautiful one. I would consider making this dress again, although I very rarely ever make the same dress twice, but I think it would look really beautiful in just a basic black linen. It would be kind of an everyday little black dress, and so that is on my list of potential makes for the future. The third Jennifer Lauren Handmade pattern I've made is the Gable top, and I'm actually wearing it today. I made it out of a cotton spandex jersey, and this is probably the only one that I would not make again. It's not that I don't like it, but there's just another top that's going to be coming up in this video that I like a little bit better, that's very similar. So there's nothing against this particular pattern, but I do find that this slash neck that comes up really high, and it's not my favorite, but I don't really think there's anything wrong with it. I think the style is really nice, and if you like that aesthetic, I do think it's a good pattern. And finally, I made the Ashleen Blouse. I really love that top. It has a beautiful square neckline and nice slightly gathered sleeves into an elastic cuff. I made mine out of a double gauze, and I just think that the shape of the top is really beautiful with that slight A-line. It looks really good untucked or tucked. And there's another version of the top that has a button front and a little collar, and I really want to make that version as well. Number 2 on my list of favorite indie pattern designer companies is Helen's Closet. I have also made 4 of her designs. Now what I like about Helen's closet is that she has pretty simple designs, but they make really great basics. And Helen's instructions are unparalleled. They just hold your hand throughout the whole process. And I have a lot of trust in Helen's closet's instructions and their drafting. I just feel like everything's going to go together really smoothly, and I'm going to have a good sewing experience. Now, I have actually sewn up all 4 of Helen's closet patterns that I have purchased so far, which is fairly rare. And so I think that's a sign that I do like the pattern company a lot, that I've actually made all of the patterns that I've purchased from her. So from Helen's closet, I have made the Blackwood Cardigan, I think 3 times. It's definitely a tried and true pattern for me. I love that it's a simple cardigan, but there's several different variations in terms of length. You can add pockets or leave the pockets off. And there's a number of hacks that Helen provides also with all of her patterns that you can change it up. So of the 2 versions that I'm going to show you today, I made one out of a leopard print jacquard fabric. And this isn't really a hack, I just didn't shorten the longer version. And so it's kind of like a midi length cardigan on me. I really love that one. And then the other one that I have to show you is made out of a white ponte. Now I do find the sleeves on this cardigan to be a little bit tight, and so I don't know going forward if I'm going to make this cardigan again. Maybe if I adjusted the sleeve a little bit, I'm not quite sure. But in the past, it has been one of my favorites, and I've made it multiple times. Next up is the Reynolds Dress and top. I've made the dress version out of a Rifle Paper Company rayon fabric. Now, I will say that I love this dress primarily because of the fabric. I think that it's really beautiful, but that's actually one of the nice things about the design, is that it is such a simple design that you can really showcase a lovely fabric. I did add waist ties to my dress just to bring it in at the waist a little bit, but that's kind of the only major modification that I made. I love that it has really nice deep pockets, and the square neckline is just really beautiful. I found that I can wear this dress year round because I can layer it over turtlenecks when it's cold out, and it looks just as good. And I have plans to make the top version this summer, so I'm really looking forward to that. Next up is the Cameron button-up shirt. This was a fairly recent make. Now, I did just say how Helen's drafting and her instructions are really good, and I do stand by that. But when I made this shirt, I later received an update that there was a mistake in the pattern with the collar, and I do think that that might be why my collar turned out not quite as perfect as I would have liked. But I do know that mistakes happen with every company, even the best ones, and I appreciate that they did send out an update as soon as they had it. So I will definitely be making the Cameron again in the future. I made mine out of a white cotton shirting that I got from Metro Textiles, and I've been wearing this shirt pretty much weekly since I finished it. It's just a wonderful basic, and I think that this is a pattern that I will go back to again and again. And finally, I made the Sandpiper Swimsuit out of some nylon spandex that I got from Joann Fabrics. This was my first foray into sewing swimwear, and I thought the instructions were really good. They're very clear and thorough, and you just follow it step by step. And I was really impressed with myself that I managed to sew my own swimwear. It's just something that I never thought that I would ever do. So I really do highly recommend the pattern, and I like the sporty look of the styling. I think that it really works well for my body type. If you're enjoying this video so far, I would really appreciate it if you would give me a thumbs up, because it helps more people find my channel. And if you're a subscriber who keeps coming back and watching all of my videos, thank you so much. It means so much to me. Number 3 on the list is True Bias. I have made 5 of her patterns. And similar to Helen's closet, what I like about True Bias is that she has fairly basic, fairly classic designs that you can make over and over again in different fabrics. But they are kind of long-lasting traditional staples that are never going to go out of style. Of the True Bias patterns that I've purchased, I have sewn up all of them, which is another good sign that I really like the company. And I think this company might be the one where I make the most repeats, where I just keep sewing the same pattern over and over again. There's a couple of TNTs on this list, and I think that that's another, it reflects well on the company that I just really meshed well with them. So the first pattern that I've sewn is the Ogden Cami. I think everyone in the sewing community has made this at least once. I think that I've made 6 of them, I'm pretty sure. It's just a classic. It's so easy to sew. It doesn't take a lot of fabric. It's a wonderful use if you have just a small amount of something left over, or if you have just a really, like only a yard of a really beautiful showcasing fabric. It's just a really simple, great design, and I'm sure that I will make more of them in the future. For this video, I think I have a couple of different versions to show you. I made a couple of them last year. I made one out of a cream silk crepe, which is really, really nice. And then I also have one out of a Rifle Paper Company lemon print on their rayon base. And I made a little matching set with the cami, and then I have a robe style jacket that I wear over top. And I really like both of those versions, and I'm excited to get them out if the weather will ever warm up. Next up is the Hudson Pants. Now I'm going to be honest with you, this was the only one of the True Bias patterns that I've tried several times and I just could not get the fit right. Now I will say that in the past year or so, I've done a lot of research and through a lot of trial and error, I've gotten better at fitting pants. So it is possible if I went back to these now that I might have more success making them work for me. However, I've since moved on and I found other jogger style pants that I just like the fit of better. So that's why I probably wouldn't go back to this pattern. But I will say that I've made it, I think, 3 or 4 times, and it did serve its purpose, but I will say that the fit just wasn't really right for me. However, I do have the men's version of the Hudson Pants, and I've made them for my husband 3 different times. I only have one picture to show you because his other 2 pairs are super old and ratty looking, but he does still wear them. And he really likes them, he really likes the fit, and I think I've gotten the tweaks just right where it's perfect for him. And so I do think this is going to be another staple that I will make them for him for years to come. It's something that will never go out of style, and who doesn't need a comfy pair of lounge pants? Next up is another TNT, the Nico top. It's actually sitting on the dress form behind me. I have made the top and the dress many times. I've made the long sleeve dress, I've made the sleeveless top, I've made the long sleeve top, and I'm sure that I'll make it again in the future. I just really like the silhouette. I like the mock turtleneck, and I like that there's so many different variations with this one pattern because I feel like you really get your bang for your buck. So, yeah, I think maybe all of the versions that I've made have been in a rib knit. Eventually, maybe someday I'll try something that's not a rib knit, but for now, I do really like the way that the rib knit looks in this design, and yeah, I just think it's a really good pattern. And lastly, I have made the True Bias Shelby dress one time, and I don't have that dress anymore because I accidentally made it a little bit too short, but I love the way that it looks. I love this 90s inspired styling of it. I definitely want to make another one that I can keep this time, and I just think it's a really beautiful silhouette. I will say on the Shelby dress, the first time that I made it, I should have done a small bust adjustment, and I did not, but I'll know that for next time, and I'm sure that next time around the fit will be even better. And I really like the design of it, and I believe that there are also some hacks that True Bias has provided that you can do some different things with the design. So technically it's a pattern that I think that I could make multiple times, but so far I've only made it the once. Number 4 on my list is Sew Over It. I have made 8 different patterns from this company. Now, similar to Jennifer Lauren Handmade, I will say that their earlier designs at least are a little bit vintage inspired, which is not really my vibe. However, their more recent patterns have a more modern, everyday type of aesthetic, which just fits with my life a little bit better. But I do really like some of the vintagey designs. I don't think that they look out of place or anything, and obviously I've made 8 different patterns from them, so they must be doing something right. I will also say that Sew Over It as a company in general, I feel like their designs fit me pretty well without a lot of adjustments, so that's another reason why I keep going back to them. I was a member of their VIP club last year, which you do pay to join. It's not like a perk or anything. So that might be why I have so many of their patterns. This company, I will say, I probably own like double the amount of patterns that I've actually sewn. I have purchased a couple of their ebooks, and then I have several of their standalone patterns that I just haven't gotten to yet. But even so, 8 patterns from one company is kind of a lot for me. So this first one I'm going to talk about is the only one that I do not have a picture of because I just made it a really long time ago and I don't have it anymore, but it is the Molly top, and I do really like this top. I like it how it has a drop shoulder, but then it has a sleeve attached to it. It comes with a top and a dress. I would like to make it again in the future, but I just haven't gotten around to it. I think I originally made mine out of an olive colored rayon jersey from Joann that was just really cheap and it didn't last, but there was nothing wrong with the design. It was just the fabric that I chose wasn't the best. Next up is the vintage shirt dress. I've made this one time and I used a double gauze from, it was a Japanese company like Koka or something like that. I can't remember, but it has little deers. It has deer wearing glasses on it, which is really cute. I have to say it's a little bit quirky and maybe not so much my style anymore, But I do really like the shape of the dress. It turned out really nicely, and I actually have some interest in sewing up the dress again in a different fabric that would maybe match my style a little bit better. I don't know how much longer I'm going to hang on to this dress. It is still in my wardrobe for now. I'm going to probably hold on to it through the summer and see how much I wear it. But I do think the design is really nice, and I would consider making it again. Next up is one that really did not work out for me. I made the Ravelo top, which is a wrap top that has grown-on sleeves, and it's cropped. So one of the issues is that I used a very cheap rayon that I got from Joann, and it was just super flimsy, and it just was very low quality, and so that's a big reason why I didn't really like it. I think you can probably even see in the photos that it just doesn't look the best. But also, I do think that that drop shoulder, I don't know, it just doesn't do me any favors. I don't like the way that it looks on me. So I'm going to give this one a pass. I don't think I'm going to make that pattern again. But construction-wise, it went together really smoothly. I don't have anything against the pattern itself. I just think that the design details are maybe not the best for me. Next up is a 2-for-1. I made the Sienna top and skirt. There's also a dress version that you can basically put the two together, but I made them as separates. And I used a rayon fabric that I got from Fabric Mart. And I have to say that I wear the skirt more than the crop top, but I do think that the set is really cute together. And when the weather is warm, it is nice to wear the top as well. I do like both of these. I don't know that I would necessarily make them again, not because I don't like them, but just because I feel like I don't need another one of these sets in my wardrobe. But I do think the design is really pretty, and it was actually pretty fun to construct. The top is fully lined and it has shirring in the back. So it's a really nice fit, and so I do recommend the pattern if you're looking at that one. Next, we have the Heather dress, which I have made twice, and as I already stated, it's really rare for me to make the same dress more than once, so that should be a testament to how much I like it. The first time I made it out of a bamboo mix French terry that I got from Blackwood Fabrics in a basic gray. It's a nice sweatshirt dress, and I really like the fit of it. It's fairly fitted, and it's sort of A-line, and it has these gigantic pockets, which is the best feature about this dress. So I just love the shape of it. It's super comfy to wear, basically like secret pajamas. And the second version that I made was out of a black sweatshirting fabric that I got from Joann. Now this fabric was not as stretchy as the first one, and so it's not quite as comfortable, but I do still really like it. I will wear it around the house. It's very comfy, and I wouldn't even rule out making a third one eventually because I just really, really love those pockets. Next on the list is the Edie top. Now this is the top that was very similar to the Gable, but I like the Edie a little bit better. I just like the neckline, how it's a little bit lower. It's still very elegant and very fitted. And I do like that the Edie comes as both a dress and a top, so I feel like it's a little bit more versatile than the Gable. And I definitely think that I will make more Edie tops in the future. And finally, I very recently made the Eve dress that I hacked into a top. I did change up the sleeve shape a little bit just because I wanted a different silhouette, but I do really like the design of it. It's very easy to put together, and I think that it looks really elegant. I definitely need to make some fitting adjustments to make the top work for me a little bit better, but once I've done those, I do see myself making more of these because I just think that it's a really classic shape, but it looks really beautiful. And number 5 on my list of indie pattern companies is Fibre Mood. Now I had a subscription to Fibre Mood for a year, and so that's probably why I have 9 different patterns that I've used from this company, because I was making an active effort to actually use my subscription that I had purchased. Now what I like about Fibre Mood is that they have fun, interesting details. Like, they're not just basics. They have something that has a little bit of flair. Their aesthetic is a little bit on the romantic side. Maybe some of their designs are a little bit too romantic for me, but I do like that, I can make a pattern from Fibre Mood and it's a little bit of a departure from what I normally sew, but I feel like it's still wearable. It still fits in with my aesthetic. Now I will say that this company is a little bit of a hit and miss for me. Some of the things that I've made I really love, and they're some of my favorites, and then other designs I made I didn't really care for. And I do think that it's probably because I took a little bit more of a risk sometimes of being like, I'm not really sure this is going to work for me, but I'm going to try. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Not everything that we sew is going to be a winner. And I did end up canceling my subscription to Fibre Mood. I'm not a member anymore, but that's just because I do feel like their designs maybe got a little bit repetitive. It's not that I don't like each of the individual patterns that I've made. It's just that overall, I kind of feel like I have enough Fibre Mood patterns that I can go back to make again, or new designs that I haven't tried before, but I do have them in my stash. I didn't really feel the need to keep adding more at this point. So the first pattern that I made is one of the misses. I made the Bonnie top and I used a cotton linen mix fabric. Now this is a very basic woven top, but it does have some interesting pleat details in the sleeve. And I think because I used a solid fabric, those details just don't really shine through and they're kind of boring, I guess. I just don't really wear this top, partly because I feel like the color is not the best for me, but also because I just feel like it's uninteresting. So I don't think I would make that top again, but it was fun to sew. Next up is the Honey, which I made out of a rayon twill that I got from Joann Fabrics. So I like and I don't like this top. I like the little details. I like that it has the little Peter Pan collar with the ruffle. I think that's an interesting touch. I do not like the ties on the sleeves. They get in the way and I just find them incredibly annoying. And so if I made another one of these, I would just not put the ties on the sleeves. But otherwise, I think that the shape is really cool. It's very interesting. It is a little bit of a departure from what I normally wear. And it's fun to wear this top to kind of mix it up when I feel like maybe I've been wearing a t-shirt and jeans too many days in a row. This is a blouse that you can put on and feel put together and feel stylish. So I do really like it. There's just, if I made it again, I would make some tweaks. Next up is the Elisa shirt. Now this is honestly one of my favorite patterns. The instructions were really awful, and so I do recommend throwing away the instructions and not following them for the collar because they're really bad. But once I figured out how to put together the shirt just on my own and ignored the instructions, I do think the drafting is really good and I love the style of this. It's probably my favorite camp style shirt. I've made two versions of it. The first one is a black and white polka dot satin and the second is a cotton linen mix in a natural color, and I have both of these shirts in my rotation. I really like the shape of the shirt and I think that I will make it again. Next we have the Paulette shirt. Now the original has this as a long sleeve, but I ended up cutting it off to a short sleeve. Now I don't wear this top as much as I thought I would, but it has nothing to do with the design. I made it out of a rayon fabric that wrinkles really easily, and if I'm going to be honest with you, I just don't like ironing or steaming my clothes. So if I'm pulling something out of my closet in the morning and I grab that top and it's super wrinkly and I can't wear it unless I iron it, I just put it back because I can't be bothered. But I do think that the design is really quite pretty. I like the little ruffle on the shoulder. I think that it's a really interesting and unique detail. It's just the whole ironing issue is the only reason why I don't wear it that much. Next up we have the bell. This is a risk that paid off for me. I used a cotton double gauze from Joann, and I wasn't sure if I was gonna like the silhouette, but I really, really do. I like that the double gauze is so light and breezy and comfortable to wear, and the style of the shirt is a little bit different from what I normally wear, although it is a little bit similar to the Paulette. And I just really, really like the way that it looks. It's kind of like an elevated basic. Like it's a solid color, so I can wear it with a lot of different things in my wardrobe. But you put it on and it's different from wearing like a basic t-shirt. I really like the style of it. It's another one that I feel like I don't need another one in my wardrobe since I have this one, but I do really like wearing the one that I have made. Next, we have another one of my favorites. This is the Ayla shirt. I made it out of a plaid cotton rayon that I got from Joann Fabrics, and I just love the shape of this shirt. It has grown on sleeves. It's really easy to construct. It was a really good use for plaid because there's not a lot of pattern pieces, so there's not too many seams to match. And I just really like the shape of the shirt. I love the drape of it. I like that it's a little bit cropped. It's just one of my favorite shirts, and I would absolutely 100% make it again in a similar fabric with a similar drape. I would definitely make another one. I've also made a Lola top, and to be honest with you, I've never actually worn this shirt because I made it at the very end of summer last year, and then the weather changed and then it was too cold to wear it. So I can't really give you a good assessment of this top because I haven't ever worn it. But I do think the style of it is really cute. I think the design is beautiful. I will say that the keyhole in the back sits low and it shows my bra, and I find that incredibly annoying. I'm not sure if there's a solution to that. Again, I haven't worn it, so I haven't figured that out yet. But I do think the design of it is really pretty, and I'm hoping to be able to get it out this summer and wear it and maybe find ways to make it work in my wardrobe. I made it out of I think it was a tencel chambray that I got from Fabric Mart, and I do think that the drape of the fabric is perfect for the pattern. I do think it's really cute, but similar to the bell, I don't think that I need another one, but I do think that it's another elevated basic. It's a little bit unique, and I really like the way that it looks. Next up is another design that didn't really work for me. I made the Fibre Mood Julia dress as part of a collab with my friend Michelle of Michelle Sews Again. I used an absolutely gorgeous rayon fabric that I got from Dashwood Studio, and I chose this dress for this fabric because it's such a simple design that I thought that it would really showcase the fabric. However, I just feel like, I don't know, there's just something about the overall shape of the dress that I just feel like it doesn't really suit me. I think maybe the grown-on sleeves maybe just don't do anything for my shape, and the length of it might be a little bit too long. You know, overall, perhaps the overall silhouette is a little bit too much fabric for my frame. I don't really know. I have not quite figured out why I don't like this dress, but I don't really like it. And I don't know, I might try to salvage it by hacking it in two and maybe making a top and maybe even trying to make a skirt out of the bottom. I don't know, but I definitely will not be making this dress again because I just don't think that the shape of it suits me. However, I will say that if you do like that style of dress, I would recommend the pattern. The back has a pleat in it, which gives it a little bit of extra detail. And I think that the idea of it is nice. I just don't think that it really works for my body shape. Next up, we have the Betty trousers. I really surprised myself by how much I liked these pants. Now, they do have a slight barrel shape to them, which is a very modern silhouette, and I wasn't quite sure if I would like that on me because I'm so short, but I think because overall it's fairly subtle, I do really like the way that it looks. They're very comfortable to wear. I like the yokes in the front and how it kind of builds into the pocket. I just think it's a really interesting construction. It's another pattern that I don't necessarily feel like I need another one, but I do really like the ones that I have. I made it out of a corduroy that was in my stash for absolutely forever, and I like the color of it. I wore these pants a lot over the fall and winter, and I think that I will get them back out when it's cold again. I do really like the pants, even though I don't feel like it's a tried and true that I'm going to be making over and over again. So that's my top 5 favorite indie pattern companies. I would love to hear in the comments what are your favorites, because we are all unique and different and we all have different things that we like in a pattern company or don't like. I'd love to get a discussion going. If you liked this video, I'm going to put up this one which points to my tried and true patterns that I make over and over again, and I will see you again next time.